Good morning, team. How are you all today? It's a gorgeous day here in Perth. We got the sun out and I'm inside painting as I will be all week this week. But the sun's normally out here, so I can't complain. All right, so we've got our list of colours. Today we're going to be adding some colour to this pear. Pre-apologies, there were two colours that were quite important colours, not vital, but important colours that I didn't give you to buy. It doesn't matter too much if you weren't able to get them, because I'm going to show you how to make something similar. But if you are able to get out, or you happen to have some of these colours at home, it would help a little bit to have them. So the colours were, that I forgot to give you, burnt sienna and yellow ochre. So yellow ochre is actually the colour I use the most. Burnt umber and ultramarine blue, these two here. These two are the colours I use in everything. So every colour I make has these two colours in it. So they're super important. I love crimson. I don't really like any other red. I find this one just warms everything up so beautifully. I just find the other reds too bright. So as long as you've got these colours, you'll be fine. The burnt umber, ultramarine blue, lamp black, it doesn't matter which crimson too much. I like the Alzarian crimson. And this one, lemon yellow, is a really good yellow to use. It's just very, very versatile. Of all the yellows I've used, I find the lemon yellow just a really nice sort of standard base yellow colour. And obviously titanium white as well. So if you've got those colours, don't stress, because we can make the other ones up a little bit, and I'll show you how we can make them. So yeah, if you do happen to have these in your painting toolbox, yay. If not, okay, don't stress, we're gonna make it, because the yellow ochre is just the perfect colour for the pear. And the burnt sienna is a really good one to have, because it's lighter and it's redder than the burnt umber. I think in one of my posts I might have said to get them, but I know that on the list I didn't put them on the list. So, all right, let's start with yellow ochre. I'm going to show you the colour. I'm just going to pop it on my palette here. Okay, so we're going to make something similar, but you can see it's a very, very, very warm mustardy yellow, and it's especially good for skin tone. But I also find anything that you want to have a rich tone, which is most things, I think, the yellow ochre is just perfect for that. So let's grab a little bit of lemon yellow. I'm going to try and create something close to it. So it's never going to be exactly the same, because all these pigments are pre-made, but I'm going to try and get something close. Okay. I think it may have a touch of blue. And maybe a touch of white. Sometimes it's just a matter of playing with your paints until you're happy with the colour. There's really no point in just mixing something and say, oh, that'll do, because it won't. It really, really won't, trust me. Okay, so what I've done here, I've just got a lid, and I've put some of my oil in the lid, my linseed oil. It really helps with loosening the paint out of your brush. So if you find the paint's not coming out of your brush, and you need to change colour quickly, or well, you wouldn't need to with oils, but you want to, I always use a bit of linseed oil to clean my brush before I start painting. It just softens the brush as well. I mean, the paint cleanup does the job, but it doesn't always get every bit of pigment out. Obviously, because I've been using these yesterday morning as well. different colours. I really want to make sure I get all of that oil out. So I just keep it in a little lid. There we go, and you can see how much paint was actually left in that brush. Shocking, I'm shocking. I'm the worst person for brushes. All brushes fear me, it's true. Alright, I'm going to go a little bit of my crimson, not too much, just a little bit on the tip of my brush there. Hopefully you can see that. I'm going to start mixing it in with my yellow. So obviously it's warm, almost orangey. Grab a little bit of blue, and that'll cool the colour a bit. Okay. It's heading a little bit on the too green side for me, so I'm going to add a little bit more red and we'll warm it up. There we go. I don't know if you can see, we're starting to really warm up that sort of greeny orangey colour. We're definitely getting a bit closer there. I'm only taking really small bits of crimson at a time. I think that's pretty close, to be honest. If you want to check, you just swipe your paint out, see what it looks like as it thins out. Okay, still do a little bit more crimson. There we go. Maybe a touch more blue. Alright, and there we go. I think that's pretty good. That's pretty close. The temptation when you want to darken something will be to use black. We need to have a bit of a chat about black. Okay, so when I started art classes in high school, I remember we had a substitute teacher one day, and she was always banging on about you never ever pour black into your picture, into your paint. Her reasoning was that black was basically, she didn't tell us exactly, she didn't use these words, but basically an unstable colour. And I've heard other people tell me this as well, other artisans, you might say, who are quite well experienced in their field. And the problem with black is that black is made up of every colour, every single colour. So if you grab every colour on the chart and you put them together, you'll come up with black. So if you don't have black, I can tell you how to make your own black. You want to put blue and yellow together to make green. You want to put red and blue together to make purple. And then you want to put together yellow and red to make orange. And once you've mixed those colours together, then you mix the green, the orange and the purple together, those three, and then you'll get black. Or at least a true neutral colour. As close to black as you can get. So the problem with a black when you buy a black, so when you create your own black, it's what's called a stable colour, because you've got control over how much purple goes in, how much red goes in, how much blue goes in. You've got control over that. When you buy a black, you have no idea how much red is in it, how much blue is in it, how much orange is in it, how much purple is in it. That's why when you buy different blacks, they are actually different. This is I actually don't know what kind of black this is. I haven't got a clue. I haven't spent enough time trying to work it out. But that's the problem with black. So when it comes to colour theory, when you put a bit of black with, say, my mustard, say I wanted a darker mustard, the temptation is to chuck black in there because you want it to be darker. However, the problem with that is that you lose control over your colour. So if I put a bit of black with my mustard, if that's not a true neutral black, which it won't be because we haven't made the black ourselves, when I put the black with the mustard, it could go green or it could go really orange. We just don't really know what's going to happen to our color when we add black to it. So generally speaking, it's not a good idea to use black for shading. I'm going to avoid it today. If you don't want to make your own black, that's fine. You can use the black, but just so you know, you won't be able to control your colors. Having said that, I know a lot of artists that refuse to use black under any conditions. I feel that's a bit of a overstatement. I don't think there's anything wrong with using black in the right setting and in its place. I've been very generous with my use of black in the past, but I've also learned that I can lose control of my values and my temperature very quickly in my painting. So we won't be using an awful lot of black. Perhaps maybe for the background and a few areas to darken it up, but we'll be using very, very minimal black. As I said before, I've been very generous with my use of black in the past, and that's something I think you should have a play with, because there are artists that just use black for shading and it works. It's amazing. But generally speaking, from an artisan point of view, if you want something to be high quality or accurate or softer, black's not the colour to use. But I do recommend that you have a play with using black at some point, and see how that goes. But yes, if you want to darken one of your paintings, don't fall into the trap of just chucking black into your colour, because it won't necessarily darken it. It will most likely destroy your colour. So the next one we want to make is burnt sienna, if you haven't got one. So I don't know if you can see this up close. So the burnt umber is the colour that we've used here for our lowest value. Burnt sienna is a lot redder. It's much, much redder and much lighter. It's really, really good for portraits. If you're doing a bit of portrait painting, it's really good at warming up your low value colours without making it too warm too quickly. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna try and turn this burnt umber into a burnt sienna. Now I don't actually know how red this particular burnt umber is. I don't know. So to find out how much blue or how much red or how much yellow is in something, you grab a little bit of white and you mix it in. And the lighter your colour becomes, the easier it is to see what colour is actually in there. To me, that looks almost pink. That looks very pinky. So perhaps all we need to do is add a little bit of our yellow ochre, a little bit of this, a little bit of white, and a little bit of the burnt umber. And now we're starting to get a slightly lighter brown, but now that I've mixed these colours together, it's still, the colour doesn't look warm enough. It doesn't look hot enough. So if you want a colour to be warmer or hotter in temperature, you add red. If you need it to be cooler, you add blue. So how's that looking? I think that's looking pretty close. I might add a little bit more red. I think that's looking pretty good. Okay, so have these colours ready on your palette if you have a chance to make them. Otherwise, if you have them, hurrah, you won't have to make them. Trying to wash my brush out a little bit. Alright, so hopefully that gives you a little bit of a heads up in how to make the yellow ochre and the burnt sienna. I know for a lot of you colour mixing is a very, very new concept. So basically, I'm just going to give you a tip that Robin Ely gave us in our course, which was very helpful. So when you're looking at your painting and you start putting colour on, think to yourself, does it need to be warmer or cooler? As you start painting and you're putting your colour on, does it need to be warmer or cooler? Does the value need to be higher, or does it need to be lower? Does it need to be lighter or darker? So warmer, cooler, lighter, darker. And keep that in your mind as you're painting. That'll help you mix your colours. So obviously lighter would be white. We're going to make our own black, which is a mix of burnt umber and ultramarine. So when it comes to values, and we say lighter, darker, this is what we mean. Higher value, lighter, darker value, lower value, darker. So make sure you have those on your palette. I've got white there already. I'll leave my white. And I'm going to put the darkest one at the bottom. Have them as far away from each other as possible. In terms of how much to mix ultramarine with your burnt umber, 50-50. Then I'm going to, if you've mixed your burnt sienna, put your burnt sienna next to that one. Then your yellow, no, not yellow ochre, crimson. So crimson again is really good for warming up. That burnt sienna is good for the transition from dark to light. Yellow ochre. Your lemon yellow. And then your white.